it's hard to actually say it was malice because Pat usually says a lot of jokes during the show.
Yeah.
So where do you draw the line? Furthermore, what else do they talk about? Favre's allegedly um, being urged to repay part of that 5 million. They also mentioned that Favre's alleged co-conspirators have pled guilty to crimes involving the misdirected direction of TNF funds, including to Prevacus and USM. Nancy and Zachary New were each indicted by the state of Mississippi on January 2022. They pled guilty on April 22nd, 2022. Among other charges, three counts each of wire fraud for involvement in the transaction of MCEC limited purpose grant funds to Prevacus.
For purposes not allowed pursuant to the limited purpose grants from which the funds originated. Yep. Well, I see there's a high chance of this motion um of the case to be dismissed. Actually, if you look at it like this, I mean, I don't know what Far's reaction would be, but um
But the person he has been
dealing with this is like
dealing with.
FTX. Everyone is pleading guilty and entering into plea deals, and he is saying,
Oh shoot! Are you saying they are?
"No, they're not." They just said
Oh,
that they pled guilty, so I didn't
okay, they
read.
pled guilty. That is
Yeah, yeah.
true. Oh, you
But
gotta plead guilty, right? To get a plea deal on certain counts. Are they building a bigger case?
I don't know
Is
how plea deals. I don't know how plea deals
is
work, but
Favre the big fish in this pond?
I don't know how plea deals work. But I can imagine that there is a settlement somewhere. But because plea deals have the characteristic of a settlement,
Yeah.
so I would imagine that it has something to do. So you do have some leniency, uh, but I don't. In this case,
No.
they just pled guilty.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken,
Nancy knew it.
the
The person he was texting with
texting, yeah,
about will the media know about this?
yeah. So I mean, I'm not. I haven't. I don't think you either, Kr. But I haven't really. Though I haven't had the time to dive into the Mississippi case,
No, didn't.
so I cannot really um, appreciate appreciate as in you appraise something. I cannot really value the extent to which it is a strong argument or not.
Yeah.
I don't know in which context the let's say
And it's
so the 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 admittance of guilt to
would
and how so to what extent it relates to
to
Brett
Brett.
Favre's role in all of this. But I guess we'll have to wait to see how Brett responds. But if I just read this, I would think that hey, Brett, or I had the feeling already, but now I mean, if there is relation, then I really don't know what Brett is doing in this case by
At the same
suing.
time, affiliation. Well, in the streets, affiliation might put you in the same corner as the other ones. But just because the person he was texting with, talking about a lot of stuff, gray area stuff, doesn't mean he was part of the gang as well. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's kind of a very interesting topic. This
yeah, but
guys, let us know in the. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Let us know, guys, in the comment section below what you think. If I'm not mistaken, a motion to dismiss is basically it's not the actual case, right? Because we don't really dive deep into to the case. What you're saying is, Judge, there is enough information now that points towards this case being a waste of state resources, time and resources. So it's not really diving deep into the case to see whether it's someone is right or wrong. It's just saying, Judge, there isn't enough to even start the case, and or at least the plaintiff hasn't made it clear why there's enough to actually proceed with the case. And yeah, let's see how the judge will, or let's see how Brett Favre will react, and especially how the judge will decide.
Yeah. What else do they mention? They talk about more context, like they are saying in this same document that Brett is taking a lot of the things that he's mentioning um, in his motion, in his complaint, that that these are out of context, and they also give some context here on those things, basically saying that he's cherry picking and putting everything out of context. In that way, he's basically taking a small segment of 85 seconds of a 3-hour broadcast, and then they give specifics on what is actually said during the show. So I think that's interesting to see as well. They also mention here that he has, as a public figure, faces the burden of proving actual malice. As they say, the complaint pleads no false statements of fact. The November 30 statements do not contain false statements of fact. Second, the December 24 tweet is non-actionable innuendo. They continue to basically state on specifics, and also mentioning that from the comedic and unfiltered context of the show, that is reasonable listener would expect McAfee to use subjective language, epithets, fiery rhetoric, and hyperbolic,
Bollocked.
and to share his opinions. And hyperbolic, yeah, hyperbolic,
Hyperbole.
hyperbole. Jesus,
Hyperbole.
yeah, it's hyperbole. Yeah. For example, McAfee kicked off the subject segment on the 30th of November 2022 broadcast by joking that Favre is the actual sticky bandits from Home Alone 2 in New York. Throughout the segment, McAfee did not implicitly assert any first-hand knowledge inaccessible to the show's audience, because he has none. I mean, I think that's we talked about this in a previous show as well, where it's hard to actually say it was malice, because Pat usually says a lot of jokes during the show.
Yeah.
So where do you draw the line from actual malice, him reporting on a case, making a joke about it, to saying he knew that it's wrong, and then turning around saying He purposely
Yeah.
said that.
Yeah. 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 I think it's. I don't think it's. I mean, if you as a if Pat is not allowed to, if Pat, if they